It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. You're listening to us in your neighborhood, from coast to coast, and around the world. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Joan Herman, author, speaker, and your host. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. Joining me is Dr. Christiane Northrup, who says that growing old does not have to mean a decline in our health, looks, relationships, or joy for life. According to Dr. Northrup, we have the ability within to make the aging process a positive experience with ageless living. She teaches that the state of our health is dictated far more by our beliefs than by our biology. Dr. Northrup is a board-certified OBGYN and a New York Times best-selling author. Her new book is Goddesses Never Age, The Secret Prescription for Radiance, Vitality, and Well-Being. Welcome, Dr. Northrup. Thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Dr. Northrup, so many people, women in particular, are afraid of aging. Why do you think aging is one of our biggest fears? And what impact do you think this fear has on the way we live our life?
Well, it's interesting that if you look at for the last 5,000 years, a woman has earned 70 cents for every dollar that a male earns. I mean, the last 5,000 years, that's been in the last year. Women didn't get the right to vote until 1920, so we haven't even had 100 years of universal suffrage. And so it's not surprising that women's value has been very much equated with her looks and her youth, her ability to have sons, thank you very much. And because that has been the kind of mythology running the media and running planet Earth for about 5,000 years in one way or another, it's just not surprising that that's what the belief system is. And what I want women to know is their belief system about getting older is actually far more powerful than their genes when it comes to what we will actually experience. People think, oh, well, you know, heart disease runs in my family, diabetes runs in my family. But what runs in your family more potently is the beliefs and behaviors that actually cause those genes to be expressed. And so my work is to help people see that they have far more power to influence their own lives than they think they do. We're taught how to move through time by what are called cultural portals. So age 21, you can drink legally, so you go out and get hammered. That's a cultural portal of great meaning. When a woman is approaching her 30th birthday, she's sometimes afraid, oh my God, I haven't met the man of my dreams. Is it too late for me? Completely depends on where you find yourself in the culture. My daughters have been in New York City. Women tend to get married later there. They have their babies later there. So they're not freaking out at 30. But if you're somewhere else, you're freaking out at 30. Then you hit 40. Now you're freaking out even more. And then 50, and all the women's magazines aid and abet this. You know, your best looks in your 20s, your best looks in your 30s, your best look in your 40s, like it matters, your best look in the 50s, and then that's it. No one talks about the 60s, 70s, 80s, because, you know, the big demographic that all marketers are going for, which runs everything, it runs the money that advertisers spend, is the 18 to 49 demographic. The Nielsen ratings for television shows, how they get the biggest buck for advertisers, is all run by the 18 to 49 demographic. So until you understand how you're being controlled and why you're being controlled, you're just like a cork bobbing on the ocean. But what I want to teach women is how to put the rudder in and put the sail up and trim the sail and use the winds and the tides of the culture to navigate a great life at any age. Who cares?
So, doctor, how do we do this? Everything you just described makes sense, but those things are so deeply ingrained in all of us. How do we push aside these unrealistic expectations?
Well, the first thing you do is you really need to understand that what we call aging, and I want to make a distinction between getting older and aging. So what we call aging really means deterioration of function and deterioration of value. And if you understand that biologically, this is really important. It's why I use biology for people so that they begin to parse those two things out. If they begin to realize that with every advancing year, you have the opportunity to improve your competence because your brain function actually becomes more intuitive and you connect things more readily than someone who's younger. Now, in the physical body, the so-called aging of the hip joints begins in your 20s with moving from your teens when chances are good you were playing some kind of sport or running around in school or something, to then sitting all day in front of a computer. The work of Joan Vernikos, who was formerly of NASA, points out that the changes that we call aging begin in one's 20s from sitting more than 6 hours a day. So if we just look at those things, because here's what people do. They don't notice that their lifestyle is contributing to their health until they hit 40, until they hit 50, and then they blame it on their chronologic age. But it actually has nothing to do with their chronologic age. It has to do with the fact that the body is finally saying, hey, stop it, keep it up, and I'll show you that it's not going to work. So we have 60-year-olds going on 20 and 20-year-olds going on 60. It's very important for people to realize the difference between their chronologic, the age on their driver's license, and biologic age, the age of their tissues. And we can actually turn back the clock by changing our behavior. I mean, a diet that spikes your blood sugar is one of the biggest contributors to deterioration. And that has nothing to do with aging, well, with getting older. It is what ages you. The other thing that ages someone is continually complaining about their age and continually putting themselves down. What you have to do is begin to monitor your thoughts and your language. Let's say that you've forgotten somebody's name, which happens all the time, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, whatever. But if you're over 50, you say, I'm having a senior moment. Do you see?
Right.
And that just ingrains this. And then, of course, you forget someone's name. You automatically go, oh, dear, I'm having a senior moment. That has meaning for you. That's terrifying for you. That increases cortisol, which further decreases your memory because of the fight or flight. So you see, if all day you're doing that, oh, my God, I'm getting older. Oh, my God, my value is, oh, my God, I'll never meet anyone. I'm going to be alone the rest of my life. I'm going to end up in a box by the side of the road. That's what a lot of women have going on in their head, which is associated with a huge amount of cortisol and stress hormones in their body, which will, in fact, age them, but it doesn't need to. So what if you did instead, like I did? Well, first of all, I would say to all of your listeners, don't ever give your age again. Just stop. When someone says, how old are you? You look them right in the eye and you say, what is your real question? You see how that just stops the conversation dead in its tracks? What is your real question? You know, like I had a guy come up to me on a bicycle in Santa Barbara. And, he thought I looked good. He said, what is your age? I said, I don't get my age. We're all eternal and ageless. But if I had known to say, what is your real question, I know what it would have been. Are you suitable for me to ask out? That's the truth. Because, I don't, maybe you're not in my range. Who cares?
And doctor, going along with that, with a 50% divorce rate today and an even higher percentage for second and third marriages, more women than ever are living alone and not involved in a relationship. And when this occurs, they often have feelings about the lost years, regret about what may have been. What impact does that type of thinking have on aging?
that has a huge impact because you go around thinking, here's what we're doing. Let's be very clear on what that is. That is the fairy tale Disney Cinderella scenario that we were fed in our baby's bottle. Is a man is going to come along and save you, and that if you are with someone, you will be complete and whole, but if you're alone, then that's it for you. You're washed up. Now, let's talk about the women who haven't gotten divorced because they were too afraid and hadn't figured out how they'd ever live alone and are living in loveless marriages that are dead. Mm-hmm. I meet them every day. They don't want to give up their MRS. They've got the golden handcuffs, and they're not living on their own terms. So the truth is this. We're in the midst of a huge, huge cultural shift where for the first time in, I would say, written history, women actually have the ability to live well on their own. We don't need a man just to survive as an economic unit. Now, for most of human history, a woman was just chattel. She was just who you married so you could keep the land in the family. Remember what I said, women didn't have the right to vote till 1920. My mother, I'm trying to think about when this would have been, in the early 80s, was mm-hmm. not able to take out a loan in her own name after my dad died. When I was first doing obstetrics in the early 80s, teachers had to quit teaching when they were pregnant. We've come a very long way in a very short period of time. So this is kind of the cultural fallout. Men have been taught that their job is to be the provider and the breadwinner, but because of this huge change in the culture, everyone is rethinking their role. And what's happening that I see, that I love, is that women are actually creating true partnerships with the men in their lives, where it's kind of going toward a conscious equal partnership, where he doesn't get to make all the rules and she keeps her mouth shut, otherwise she'd starve. We're not seeing that anymore. So yes, there are many, many single women. However, if you talk to a love coach, more people over 50 are finding each other and dating than at any time in human history. So that's important for women to know. I'm a graduate of the Mama Gina School of Womanly Arts, and I learned a ton that good men want to please you. And I found there are many, many, many good men out there. But they are looking for a woman who's not bitter, not angry, and isn't what Alison Armstrong calls a frog farmer, where she takes a perfectly good man and then castrates him all day long because she sees men as failed women. Men are not like women. They're not. And we women have to really learn how to love and appreciate men instead of what you see, which is a lot of women complaining about men all the time. It's really stupid, and it contributes to their own loneliness.
So, Doctor, we're making amazing strides as women, and we've been talking about the power that we have within. If you could sum it all up and help someone reprogram all of the expectations we've discussed, what would you say to help that person move forward gracefully and vibrantly?
So the first one would be, remember what you loved when you were 11. Was it singing? Was it riding horses? Was it taking long walks? Was it reading? What was it? And start adding that to your life. Number 2, monitor your language. Notice every time you start to reference something by somebody's age. Just notice it and then turn it around. 3, understand that we are eternal, ageless beings. Our souls are eternal and ageless, and therefore assigning an age to something and an activity to something based on one's age is not only scientific, it's just not the truth of who we really are. So I would forget your age. Number 4, I would begin to search out all the women, either in the media or in your own life, who are not following the cultural constructs. I have a Pinterest board called Ageless Goddess. Hay House has one as well, so that we have examples of women who are happy, healthy, being with men or not being with men, whatever, and who are enjoying their lives to the fullest. You need to start paying attention to what is working. And the number 5, be very, very selective about what you let into your mind, into your house, into your television screen, into your books, because you can get ageist messages. They're just part of the culture. You need to step out of it, and it's completely possible. You just say, that doesn't apply to me.
The book is Goddesses Never Age, The Secret Prescription for Radiance, Vitality, and Well-Being by Dr. Christiane Northrup. If you'd like more information, you can visit her website, drnorthrup.com. Doctor, thank you for being here and for providing this message that we can age on our own terms. I think this is a very important message, and I thank you for sharing it with us.
You are so welcome. It's been a pleasure.
We'll be right back. Hi, this is Joan Herman, host of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Did you know that Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox? Every month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide information to educate, inspire, and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Check out a copy of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life 24/7. Visit cyacyl.com and be sure to tell your friends. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, cyacyl.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read the digital magazine, and be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.